I can be your angel.
Or I can be your devil.
This is Monroe Street. It's your pretty stereotypical older suburban street. It's part of a neighborhood grid system that extends into Pitman, New Jersey. Remember my density video? Technically, Monroe Street is in Glassboro, the town adjacent to Pitman, but there's actually some history behind why it ended up in Glassboro versus ending up logically in the inclusion of Pitman, but that's a story for another day. By American standards, Monroe Street has it all. A dense, walkable neighborhood with public schools within walking distance, traffic calming devices like speed bumps, though it's debatable whether these are good or not, and even a transit stop at the end of the street. Well, yeah, it's your typical American bus stop, missing literally everything except for the sign, but compared to other similar suburbs, at least it has one and it's served by 3 different bus lines. Monroe Street and most of its surrounding neighborhood is also very fortunate by US standards too. It has not 1, but 3 grocery stores within walking distance. But living there you wouldn't really know that because it doesn't feel like anyone's supposed to be walking, just driving. Let me show you what I mean. On a map, this is what Monroe Street looks like, part of a grid system that I mentioned earlier. Next to the neighborhood, you can see the large grocery stores and strip mall combos that are cratered into the asphalt wasteland known as College Town Shopping Center. Now, as someone who grew up in Pitman, I call this piece of shit strip mall part of my home. As a kid, I used to walk down Monroe Street to get over to the strip mall and buy some Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Steam cards with the money that I had from mowing lawns. So as you could probably guess, I got quite familiar with this walk. But even as I was young, I sort of knew intuitively that there was a problem with it. As one grumpy dude once said,
"Some so subtle you might not have even noticed, but your brain did."
And the problem is that big box stores and strip malls absolutely suck at integrating themselves into neighborhoods, and oftentimes just actively make things worse for a town. In this video, we're going to talk about the lack of walkability surrounding strip malls and big box stores, and how the placement of these buildings drives neighborhoods apart and separates communities. I won't be touching much on the capitalistic aspect of these stores and institutions, but you probably know that they destroy small business and Main Street commerce. Generally bad. Anyway, back to Monroe Street. This street and the surrounding neighborhoods are only connected to the shopping mall via 2 legitimate walking paths. One connected directly to the end of Monroe Street, and one to the opposite side down Donald Barger Boulevard. But only the one down the boulevard is fully paved with a sidewalk and is handicap accessible. The entrance off Monroe Street is merely a dirt path that has been formed over time by so many people wearing it down on the same route for so many years. Or as the internet calls them, a desired path. This is unfortunately the state of so many called walking paths leading to the strip malls and big box stores around the country. The lack of energy and money put into servicing walkability is laughable in so many US towns, and it costs a fraction of the price of all the car-based infrastructure that these towns also take care of. Now let's go back to the map. I'm sure the cartography enthusiasts out there spotted the 2 streets that look like they connect with the back of the shopping center. Well, in a better planned town, these would connect with the shopping center or would have walking access to the shopping center. But unfortunately, these paths are blocked by an 8-foot tall fence that surrounds the entire retail space. The houses and the people that live on the street suddenly have to go from having a 200-meter walk just to get to their groceries to having a 1.2-kilometer walk, or about 3/4 of a mile, around the entire neighborhood just to get to a store in the first place. And this is on top of the fact that the strip mall and the surrounding infrastructure is so auto-centric that even walking there in the first place feels wrong, and somewhat dangerous. Strip malls and big box stores are ironically a lot like ordering fast food when you're a town planner. They seem like an easy, convenient solution, and at first you enjoy the flavor. However, you soon realize that the side effects aren't worth that cheap bargain. Fast food planning, as we'll call it, makes a town that doesn't feel right. Everything feels artificial and tasteless, especially when you have to travel everywhere by car. It's not until you try to go for a walk down those same streets that you notice all the short-sightedness in all of the planning. That all adds up to a neighborhood that is not cohesive and is barren of amenities anyway. So what's the alternative? The strip mall down the street is in stark contrast with the neighborhood known as the Grove. The Grove is a small, dense, walkable neighborhood that is placed adjacent to the Pittman downtown, easily accessing all of the stores and retail space within a 5 to 10 minute walk. Small shops like the Pittman convenience store service the neighborhood and act as a general store. The Grove is the perfect example of the opposite possible mindset to an auto-oriented infrastructure. If you'd like to hear more about the Pittman Grove, I actually have another video about it in more detail. I hate to pick on Glassboro so much in this video, because they have made big strides in the direction of walkability. They recently had major reconstruction of their entire downtown in a more friendly, walkable mixed-use neighborhood. And in the last few years, more land around the center of the town has been upzoned into new apartment buildings. Honestly, Glassboro's downtown is almost a perfect example of how to redesign a downtown. There are some problems with it still, but it's still much better than the absolute garbage planning that goes into continuous auto-centric building of strip malls and big box stores. I hope soon that Monroe Street and the surrounding neighborhoods receive better walking infrastructure, because even if we don't have the money to completely tear down and rebuild the College Town Shopping Center, we can at least make walking there easier and more accessible. This would entail building new walking paths that connect all of the adjacent streets like Monroe, and taking down parts of the fence that prevent people from walking into the back area, along with making the walk behind the buildings safer and lit up. Walkable neighborhoods will become increasingly more important and desirable in the near future as we approach an era where climate sustainability is at the forefront of our importance. Building small paths like the one connecting Monroe Street and banning or limiting the planning of strip malls and big box stores is necessary for sustainability success. I'd like to thank all those who support me on Patreon, and if you're also interested in joining our Planning and Train Discord, all the links are below. Thanks for watching another episode. I'll see you in the next one.